Hi, I'm Will Washington, Executive Director of Armour Up. Night one is now in the books. It was awesome. Love the energy. Love this group of kids. We're so excited for a great summer. Hey, I want to tell you one thing we're going to do every week in these videos. We're going to give a post video after each night so you can just have a recap of whatever that message was. So if you missed a week or you just want to be reminded what we talked about, I'm just going to do a brief kind of hitting the highlights of what we talked about. So this night, what I talked about is I started off by saying that every one of us wants to be strong. And we look for that in different ways. Sometimes it's how good we are at sports. Sometimes it's how good we are at school. Sometimes it's fitting in and looking cool in front of other people. It can even be trying to be a really good person and looking like a great Christian all the time that never makes mistakes. And I made the point, though, that if we trust in ourselves to look strong and to be strong, eventually that's going to let us down because we're all sinners that will eventually see our weakness. So we need a much better source of strength that will never let us down. So with that, I took us to Daniel in the lion's den. It's a popular story that most people know. Daniel gets thrown in the lion's den because he was faithful to God. And of course, as you know probably the story, is Daniel got let out alive because God saved him. And I made the point tonight that Daniel was not the strong one. God was the strong one in the story. Daniel knew how weak he was, and he admitted that God was strong and sought his strength. So what I try to do is make the point that when we see our weakness, we can see how strong God really is. And of course, the greatest display of God's strength is that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So the best news of all is that Jesus Christ came to save us from something so much worse than a lion's den, that we deserve eternal separation from God. But if we trust in what he did on the cross and that 3 days later he rose from the dead, we can also live in eternal life in a relationship with God. That news will change everything. So we left him with the idea that because God is strong, we will trust him. And when we know our weakness, we can truly see how strong God is. So we're excited for a great summer. We're going to keep talking about how great our God is and what he did in the gospel.